Hey, Cowboys fans, let's talk about what's happening with America's team right now. After that recent game against the New York Jets, it's easy to get carried away with the narrative. Sure, the scoreboard looked close at the end, but let's be honest, this was a dominant performance. The Jets just aren't at the level to really test a team like Dallas right now. That doesn't mean we can write off the win entirely, though. It's a step in the right direction, even if the opponent wasn't the toughest. The real question is, what does this tell us about the Cowboys moving forward, and what can we expect in the weeks ahead? First, let's talk offense. Brian Schottenheimer has been showing flashes that are exciting for fans who have been waiting for a cohesive offensive identity. This is still early in the season, and yes, it's only 5 games in, but the way he's blending Dak Prescott's strengths and weaknesses with the overall scheme is noticeable. There's still moments where the play calling feels conservative, especially on 4th downs, and there will always be drives where you scratch your head. But compared to previous seasons under other coaches, there's a clear evolution. The team doesn't collapse if an offensive lineman goes down, and there's more rhythm in the sequencing of plays. The balance between running and play-action passes is improving, and guys like Clayton Adams are starting to look like reliable weapons in the backfield. The running game, in particular, has been a pleasant surprise. The Cowboys are starting to generate consistent yardage behind the line, and the play action looks much more polished than it did under Mike McCarthy. That's huge because it opens up the field for Prescott to make throws without being pressured into mistakes. The offensive line has shown that it can adapt to injuries, and the skill players are thriving in these more dynamic formations. We're not seeing the same stagnant offense that used to rely on the same predictable sequences over and over again. There's creativity and a willingness to attack different areas of the field. Now, the defense is a little trickier to evaluate. Beating the Jets doesn't automatically mean the Cowboys have solved all their issues, but there were promising signs. They were aggressive when it mattered, mixing man coverage and blitz packages to apply pressure at key moments. Shamar James and James Houston have been particularly effective as situational pass rushers, and Dante Fowler finally looked like the player fans hoped he could be. Adjustments in coverage schemes were evident, and the defensive front was able to disrupt the Jets' rhythm multiple times. That said, one good game doesn't erase the inconsistencies we've seen earlier in the season. The defense still needs to prove that they can maintain this level of play against stronger competition. Individual performances on the offensive side also deserve recognition. Ryan Fennoy had a breakout game, showing speed, hands, and the kind of route running that can make him a reliable target moving forward. Dak Prescott trusted him immediately, and Fennoy delivered with multiple big catches and impactful plays that changed drives. This doesn't mean we're writing off other receivers like Jalen Tolbert, who still brings value in blocking and special teams, but Fennoy is proving he has the athletic upside to become a key part of this offense. The coaching staff's trust in him is paying off, and it could influence how the wide receiver depth chart looks down the line. At the offensive line, the comparison between Nathan Thomas and Tyler Gayton is interesting. Both players performed solidly against the Jets, and while Thomas is still raw, he held his own. Gayton remains consistent and reliable, and together they give the Cowboys flexibility to adjust as injuries and matchups come into play. This depth is crucial if the team wants to sustain success against more formidable defenses. The quarterback has been doing a lot to compensate when pressures arise, but the line's ability to hold up will be tested in the coming weeks. Special teams and other role players also contributed in meaningful ways. The ability to execute in these often overlooked areas can make the difference in close games, and the Cowboys have been showing that they can rely on these contributors when needed. Players who could do a little bit of everything, block, run routes, cover punts, give a team the versatility to handle different game situations without overcomplicating the game plan. Looking ahead, the schedule is going to ramp up. Beating the Jets was expected, but the Cowboys now face a stretch of games where every opponent has playoff aspirations or is capable of exploiting mistakes. Teams like the Commanders, Broncos, and Cardinals will test both the offense and defense in ways that the Jets simply did not. The Cowboys' ability to maintain momentum, make in-game adjustments, and manage Dak Prescott's strengths and weaknesses will be critical. The early wins build confidence, but they don't define the ceiling for this team. The coaching staff's approach will continue to be scrutinized. Brian Schottenheimer has earned some goodwill, but the challenge is sustaining that trust as the competition gets tougher. The team needs to demonstrate consistency and the ability to execute under pressure. Fans want to see that the offense can remain aggressive without becoming predictable and that the defense can replicate the kind of pressure and coverage adjustments we saw against New York. These are the next hurdles the Cowboys will face, and how they respond could define their season. One thing is clear, there are positive signs on both sides of the ball. The offense is more dynamic, the defense is showing flashes of adaptation, and the younger players are stepping up when given opportunities. Wins against weaker opponents are just the beginning, but they do set a foundation. Now, it's about building on that foundation and proving that the Cowboys can compete with the top-tier teams in the league. Momentum is important, but consistency is king in the NFL. The challenge will be whether Dallas can maintain this balance over the next few weeks as the competition heats up. Now, let's get into some of the nuances that fans have been debating since that Jets game. Overreactions are everywhere. And honestly, it's easy to get carried away after a convincing win. Some are saying the offense is unstoppable and that Schottenheimer has completely transformed this team. That's an exaggeration. Yes, he's showing promising play-calling tendencies, and there's a lot to like about the way he's utilizing Prescott's skills, but it's still early in the season. The system is not perfect, and the team hasn't been tested against high-level defenses in back-to-back weeks yet. That said, there's reason for optimism. The blend of run game, play action, and short to intermediate passing has created a rhythm that the Cowboys haven't consistently had in years. It's a more balanced attack, which opens up opportunities for both the running backs and receivers to make plays in space. Ryan Fennoy's performance deserves its own spotlight. He wasn't just catching passes, he was creating separation, making defenders miss, and showing the kind of athleticism that forces a defensive coordinator to game plan specifically for him. 6 catches for over 100 yards in a game, where he barely played with Dak in the past, is remarkable. The trust that Prescott placed in him right away signals that the coaching staff believes in his ability to contribute at a high level, and he rewarded that confidence. Fennoy may not yet have the polish of a veteran, but his potential is undeniable. Meanwhile, Jalen Tolbert continues to serve a different, but still critical, role. His blocking, special teams play, and willingness to take on the dirty work make him valuable in ways that stats don't always capture. The combination of Fennoy's explosiveness and Tolbert's versatility gives Dallas depth and flexibility at wide receiver, which is essential over a long season. On the offensive line, there's a lot to unpack as well. Nathan Thomas's first full game in almost 2 years was encouraging. While he wasn't perfect, he held up against the Jets' defensive front and looked fundamentally sound. Tyler Gayton remains reliable, and the comparison between the two shows that Dallas now has options and depth on the left side. Prescott's mobility has masked some inconsistencies, but the overall performance of the line allows the quarterback to operate without feeling overwhelmed. TJ Bass continues to be a revelation at right tackle, providing solid run blocking and pass protection. The line may not yet be elite, but it's a unit that is trending in the right direction, and having multiple capable players allows the staff to manage matchups and injuries effectively. Defensively, there are promising adjustments, but it's far from solved puzzle. The mix of blitzes, man coverage, and different front looks helped generate pressure and disrupted timing against the Jets. But the real challenge will come against teams that don't struggle to move the ball. Shamar James, James Houston, and Dante Fowler all showed flashes of the potential to impact games. But consistency is key. The linebacking core, particularly James and Kenneth Murray, have moments of brilliance, but there are still coverage lapses and occasional missed tackles that could be costly against better teams. Matty Rayfuss deserves credit for experimenting with schemes and personnel, but the defense will need to maintain these adjustments over multiple weeks to truly earn the label of fixed. Special teams and role players continue to be understated contributors. The ability to perform reliably in these situations can swing field position and create scoring opportunities. Players like Tolbert, who can contribute in multiple areas, add valuable depth. Meanwhile, rookies and young players getting snaps are learning how to adapt to the speed of the NFL game. These experiences are critical for growth and can pay dividends in the latter part of the season when injuries inevitably start to take a toll. Looking ahead, the Cowboys are entering a tougher portion of their schedule. Wins over weaker teams are nice for building confidence, but the real measure of progress will come when they face opponents with playoff aspirations. Teams like the Commanders, Broncos, and Cardinals will test the offense's versatility and the defense's ability to stay disciplined under pressure. The success of Dak Prescott's offensive game management will be central, as will Schottenheimer's decisions in critical moments, especially on fourth downs and in tight situations. It's one thing to dominate the Jets. It's another to execute against multiple playoff-caliber teams in succession. Injuries, depth, and adaptability are also crucial. The Cowboys have been fortunate in some areas, but need to continue developing their younger players to handle future demands. The performance of Finnoy and Thomas illustrates the importance of having reliable backups who can step in without causing a drop-off in production. These depth pieces are often what separate teams that make late-season runs from those that falter when the schedule toughens. The coaching staff's ability to rotate personnel, create mismatches, and adapt week to week will determine whether Dallas can translate early-season promise into sustained success. Overall, there's a mix of excitement and caution. The offense is more fluid, the defense is showing glimpses of life, and the team is finding ways to execute efficiently. But the real tests are coming. The wins against weaker opponents are building blocks, but they don't define the ceiling for this team. The next stretch of games will tell us whether Dallas has the resilience, depth, and consistency to compete with the league's elite. Fans can be encouraged by the progress, but it's far from a time to declare the Cowboys unbeatable. Momentum is valuable, but sustainability is the ultimate goal, and every player, from the stars to the depth contributors, will need to rise to the occasion. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. The Dallas Cowboys may be on the verge of a blockbuster move that could shake up the NFL landscape. Rumors are swirling that quarterback Jared Goff is set to join the Cowboys, a development that has fans and analysts alike buzzing with speculation. While nothing has been officially confirmed, sources close to the situation suggest that discussions have been intense, and the prospect of Goff taking the reins in Dallas has ignited a wave of excitement and debate across the league. For years, the Cowboys have been in search of a franchise quarterback capable of leading the team to the next level, and Goff, a former number 1 overall pick with a Super Bowl appearance under his belt, fits the profile. His tenure in Los Angeles was a roller coaster, marked by flashes of brilliance and periods of inconsistency, but insiders suggest that a fresh start in Dallas could be exactly what both Goff and the Cowboys need. Fans on social media are already imagining a revamped offense with Goff at the helm, connecting with a talented receiving core and executing head coach strategies with precision. Critics, however, caution that Goff's past struggles and high-pressure moments could follow him, and that Dallas must weigh the gamble of investing in a quarterback whose career has been a mix of highs and lows. Still, the mere possibility of Goff donning the silver and blue has created a palpable energy around AT&T Stadium. The potential signing has sparked comparisons to other high-profile quarterback moves in recent memory, with analysts dissecting fit, scheme, and leadership style. Could Goff be the missing piece in a team that has flirted with playoff contention but never quite broken through? Or is this just another example of the Cowboys chasing a marquee name to appease a restless fan base? The truth, as always, will only reveal itself on the field. But for now, the rumor mill is running at full speed. As the NFL offseason unfolds, all eyes will be on Dallas. The possibility of Jared Goff stepping into the Cowboys huddle adds an element of intrigue and anticipation that the league thrives on. Whether this move materializes or not, the conversation it sparked is a reminder of how a single name can change the narrative for a franchise. Cowboys fans are waiting, hopeful and anxious, for what could be one of the most talked about quarterback stories of the year. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.